It's 13 before the hour. Pete Townshend has spent over 30 years redefining the limits of rock and roll. Now he's just released The Best of Pete Townshend. It draws together solo material released between 1972 and 1993. It's a collection that he feels is not very different from his work with The Who.
The pressure after '82, when I left the band, was slightly different, but you know, I only made 3 solo albums after I left The Who. They were all very severely contained within concept stories. So I think maybe what distinguishes my work as a solo artist is that not so much that I've been able to write more personally, which is what you'd imagine that would happen, but that I've been able to free up my ability to define the brief within which I work. I've made these songs which are, you know, for people to identify with, to bounce off, but they come from stories, and some of them are my stories, and some of them are stories of the people that I've seen around me. And the Who story was very much that. You know, we started in a neighbourhood, and we wrote for those kids in that neighbourhood. We eventually lost touch with the kids in the neighbourhood, needless to say.
I've always felt that the spirit of rock and roll is whatever it is that makes your mother open the door and yell, "Turn that down."
Oh, is that true anymore? I wonder.
Was it ever true?
Well, you know, my grandmother used to open the door and say, "Turn it down." You know, I smashed up my first amplifier because she did that.
What do you think the spirit of rock and roll is?
You know, I think it's higher than that. I think it's higher than rebellion. I think it's also more complicated. I actually think that without getting too kind of pompous about it, you know, because I think it's difficult to reduce to a few catchphrases. It's not difficult. To some extent, the music is the catchphrases that we use, you know, born to be wild, hope I die before I get old, I can't get no satisfaction.
Peter Townshend, as a young man, could see the Peter Townshend who's sitting right here. You look almost like a banker, a businessman. What would he think about this gentleman sitting here?
He'd think, where did he get that fantastic suit?
And what I was going to say, you were an angry young man. You were known for being that. Are you still angry?
I don't know that I was exactly an angry young man. I think that what was actually happening in those early days was that anger was a component of the music. Commitment and passion are probably more important. And when you temper anger with commitment and passion, it has some kind of value.
When people at your shows, they can come up and they can touch a rock star, they can touch Pete Townshend, and they look you in the eye and they say, "I want to do what you do, I want to be who you are." What advice do you give them?
What I'd say to those people is be careful, because it can really hurt. It's not at all easy. It's not what you think it is. When you become famous, there's lots of people that are ready to come and say to you, "You had it easy," you know. And you can just kind of look at them and say, "Well, actually, you know, you're right. Thank you. You're right." You know, and that's all you can really say, because once you're there, it's difficult to know any other way. And there is a price to fame. You know, there's a price with relationships where, you know, your family and your friends don't know who you are. You don't know how to explain to them who you are. And things change under you, things change around you. Your fans' relationship with you often stays the same, so you start to regard your fans as being more important to you than perhaps they really are, or that they're so it's a confusing place to be. Enter into that world very, very carefully, because it's not like anything. It's not.
Pete Townshend, 9 until the hour. We'll be right back.